Okay, hi everyone, SmithyCube, SmithyQ.com. If I could talk, it's been a long time since I did one of these videos. What, like 2.5 months? So the good news is that I survived my first set of law school exams. Yay! Even though I guess I kind of look like I've been stuck on a desert island for a little bit now. I'm a little bit scraggled, but that's okay. Everything is great, and I'm looking forward to having a really good new year. One of the things, just to prove that I'm still alive, here's going to be a quick video. I'm going to hopefully do a few more, more in-depth videos. But this is just fun. This is the first game of 2020. It was a win. Woohoo! Pretty simple, pretty thematic. I'm going to go through it really quickly. And then I'll just basically the future of what's going to happen going forward. Right? So let's enjoy. So I was black, just nice and quick, right? Just explain some of the ideas. So I was playing the Alkine, which has become my main defense against 1e4. The idea, of course, let's lure white's pawns forward. And white, he happily obliges by sending all 4 of his pawns. And so 4 moves, 4 pawn moves. So he's got a lot of space, that's great, but absolutely no development. And we'll see that this can come back to bite him. I develop, he develops. This is the best move, because if knight f3, then we have the option of playing bishop g4 with the pin, and then there's a lot of pressure going on, and white can get in trouble very quickly here, actually. So by developing with the bishop, black needs to make a move. Generally, it's bishop f5, and here is where you could now develop the knight, and then I'd have to waste the tempo to try and get the pin going. Hopefully the street isn't very loud. It's been very loud from the New Year's tourists and stuff here. Anyway, unfortunately, my opponent did not play knight f3. Is that I believe he was worried about an eventual knight to b4 and then a fork potentially here on c2. Is that he played a3, which, if you're keeping score at home, is what, 5 pawn moves, 6 pawn moves in the first few. I've lost count. I play e6, ready to develop my bishop, but then he plays b4. So he kind of goes insane, where he's just moving nothing but pawns. Now, to be fair to my opponent, is that if he were to magically finish development, so we get the bishop to e3, have everything, any castles, yeah, he's doing absolutely great. White would be better because he has more space, and black is getting crushed by the pawns. But you can't get 6 moves in a row in chess, and if that's not the way it works. And so the black's entire strategy needs to be hit back at these pawns. Use the development while we got it. Because again, I have 3 pieces developed. I'm ready to, I can get my queen out. I can get potentially even some sacrifices going on here. Some of those ideas. And so I need to make it count. I just can't sit there and play a bunch of nothing moves like h6, bishop h7, castle, right? No, that gives white time. Right? Time that we should not allow white to have. And so I ended up playing f6, which is thematic, because then after take, queen takes, knight f3, and castle, we can see how everything is coming at here, right? And so there's a lot of pressure already. Perhaps e5 can come, which will just completely open things up. And again, there are thematic ideas of sacrifices here, catching the white king in the center. So this isn't bad. Black certainly has the initiative here. However, this was my first game in quite a bit, and so I missed a rather obvious move. Maybe you already saw it right here, is that there's no f-pawn, and so simply queen to h4 check here is very strong. If g3, then we simply slide over. We're hitting this, we're hitting this. Again, we're hitting lots of things. White's going to lose some material somewhere. And even after the better bishop f2, the queen can still come here with check. And it's going to be very similar to the game, but we're going to castle and move sooner. Again, we have a lot of pressure on d4. And just much more active. The computer says the difference between this position here and the position we got in the game, if we can just compare, is it is 1 pawn better. So this position is nearly equal. In the other position, black's activity is that much stronger. So I missed that, but fortunately things were okay, because after knight f3, again, I castled. He comes in with knight b to d2. And so we could see his idea. The knight are protecting each other, which is great, but more importantly, the knight is blocking the rook from eyeing the queen. But now is the time to cash in. There's two real possible ways to do that for black. Because again, I don't want to just play bishop e7, rook here, because that gives white, again, time to play bishop e2, castle, and then, to figure something out. Let's not give white that. There's a couple possibilities. One would be to play e5. One, again, is to cash in somewhere on b4. But again, we have the rook on the d file, and so I think we should naturally be thinking about seeing if we can take on d4. And it's just a minor sacrifice. Why not? So knight takes, rook takes, bishop takes, and then queen takes. And so if we just compare this position here, with, say, this position, we'll just back and forth a couple times so we can just see what's happened, is that the position is completely opened up. Is that white's pawns, of course, are completely gone, and there's a lot of tactics in the air. Again, the queen is beautiful, cannot be white cannot castle. Gotta be careful, white cannot move the queen, or the rook is gonna hang. This bishop is beautiful. We could imagine playing bishop d6, going in this way, but I also like the idea of playing bishop e7, coming over here with check, or coming over here, attacking that, or coming here, and there's just lots of open lines. We're gonna move the bishop, move the rook in, things are fantastic. And so we give up the exchange. We've got a pawn, his king hasn't castled, things look good. And in fact, things are so good that white needs to play, apparently, says the computer, rook to a2 to have any real hope of staying in the game, of only being marginally worse. He doesn't do that. He ended up playing rook to c1, which is very natural, moving the rook out of the corner. It's eyeing the king. Not that white has any business attacking. Things are okay, maybe. But it's actually not, because after bishop e7, the computer says that white is simply lost. Again, the threat of this coming in, of bringing the rook to one of these two squares where there's all this pressure. Let's ignore that. Even just eventually sacrificing the knight coming in here. But white plays the most natural move on the... Oh, I guess maybe it's not the most natural move. Let me know what the most natural move is in this position. Well, knight f3 certainly makes some sense, because, offering the exchange of queens, easing his cramp. But then after queen to e3, bishop e2, because if he moves the queen, then he loses the rook. That's not very good. But then after bishop b2 and rook to d8, we can see the magic of, it's been 17 moves. Black is fully developed. White still has pieces not developed. White is still... None of his pieces are very good. King is in the center. And in fact, the queen is... has no squares to go to. So my opponent ended up sacrificing the queen for the rook, but he then resigned just a few moves later. So that was pretty good. And so that shows, again, not a bad first game. I think I lost the rest of my games. Whoops. So I got to at least brag about one of these. Hopefully 2020 I'll be able to play a bit more chess and have more results like this. And games like this are exactly why I like playing the Alekhine as black. It's because, again, we're tempting white to waste a lot of time moving pawns. And if white finishes development, he'll be okay. But just a couple of tempi difference, and then all of a sudden things got very hard for my opponent, to the point where we need to find more and more difficult moves, to the point where even natural moves were considered quite bad by the computer, and it all happened very, very quickly. And so the Alekhine, and again, it's not a very popular opening, so most people don't know much about it beyond the first couple of moves. It's possible to do really well. So I've been enjoying it. It's certainly worked here, and hopefully there'll be a heck of a lot more. So that's it. That's the analysis. If you want to just exit the video, that'd be awesome. That's there. If you actually, caring about the channel or my blog, what's going to happen. So hopefully this year I am going to be playing more, just playing more. That'd be a lot of fun. I have a chess goal of finishing one of 3 endgame books. They're Karsten Muller's endgame books, and so I'll be blogging about some of that on the actual blog, spittheq.com. Also, I'm going to be recording every single mistake that I make in a live chess study. Do I have it? One second, let me see if I can bring that up. Okay, so this was actually really hard to get it to resize properly, and this isn't resized properly, but anyway, you'll get the idea here. So what's going to happen is every single time I make a mistake or I miss a tactic in one of my games, either it's a Blitz game or a long play game, I'm going to be recording it in a study like this. And so it's a chance for me to quiz myself, basically, on my own mistakes. And so here, Black's last move is this, and that allows Queen B3. Woohoo! There's it in. And then you can see another example in the game that I ended up taking. I think Peter said that's not the best move. Look, I'm even doing a little bit of annotations, and it gave some ideas here. And so this is a way for me to catalog all of my mistakes. Some are going to be egregious, where I just hung a queen. Whoops, don't do that again. Some will be a bit more subtle, like this. This is more of a strategic mistake. Kind of an interesting position, actually, if we were to look at it, if we were to back up, because like this bishop, it's technically a bad bishop because of all the pawns are on the light squares, but it's on the outside, and so it's quite active. And so, do I exchange it? Do I not? What's the long-term plan? And again, it's a Blitz game, but I was thinking a little bit superficially, maybe, and so I simply exchanged it in the game. I just took, because then I don't have to worry about it. But that is perhaps not the way to think. Of course, it wasn't the way to think about it, says the computer. Is that after bishop f5, we can see here that my bishop is much better than his bishop, and it's just, imagine, can I delete these arrows? Beautiful. What can white do? What are our logical moves for white? How can white get his pieces in? And it's not very easy, whereas black, he's going to be doing things like this. He's going to be start invading. Other things, maybe he's got f6. Black's got all sorts of potential ideas that he can do. And again, this bishop is quite strong. That's it. So that wasn't perhaps a tactical mistake, but it was a mistake that really changed the nature of the position, and it's worth doing. And so every single Blitz game, every long play game, I'm going to record these here. I imagine there'll be several hundred by the end of the year, but we'll be able to look back, and hopefully I'll be able to actually learn from these. But also, it's going to be based on, I don't know if you can see it here, but yeah, so black, Alakine. And so I'm recording them based on the actual opening that was played. So I'm going to be using the same openings all year. I'm going to actually commit to that this time. And so by the end of the year, we're going to have several dozens, if not hundreds, of various tactics across different openings, the openings that I play. And so that might just be useful as a way to, look at. So anyway, I'm going to put this link in the comments or the description or whatever it's called. The link is also on my blog. It's on my live chess profile. So again, it's you can come and laugh at all the times that I hang my queen and all sorts of other things. I show my best games on my channel, but there's a lot of stinkers as well. And hopefully this is a way I'm going to be improving. I have a really bad habit of not analyzing my Blitz games, not looking at mistakes, and not really improving. So let's improve. Let's see if we can crack 2200 this year. That's the goal. And then second, I'm going to really try and commit to this. It's hard because, again, I have school and it sucks a lot of time. But I can commit 1 hour each week to doing one of those long play games where I'm playing something that's not just 3 minutes aside. I'm going to try and do the 15 minutes or higher. And then, again, I will analyze it, put on the blog. Because it's going to be on my school computer, it's going to be a bit simpler. Not that this is probably the best anyway. But that's hopefully the plan going forward. And so I don't know how much videos or content I'm going to be creating. However, I will be blogging about endgames. I will be playing the same openings throughout, and I will be recording all the mistakes here, and I'll be playing long play games. And that's going to be my Chess 2020. And then just minor thing on my end, I'm going to be studying, I'm going to finalize my opening rep, like all my lines, every variation I think I need to play for all my openings by March. And so I'm giving myself 3 months, and then I'm going to spend the rest of the year with endgames. And I think that actually lines up well, because that's when the school year ends, and then everything will be great. And so that is my 2020. I hope you all have a happy new year, and everything is great. If you even remember who I am, because it's been so long since I created a video, but I'll be a bit more active, just a little bit, because I'm really engaged with chess, and I really want to improve further. I feel like I've been creating content, perhaps, but I've been standing still in my own development, and I'm hoping that that's not the case anymore. That 2020 will be rising up. Anyway, so that's it. Don't need to hear anything more about me. Hopefully you enjoyed the game. Hopefully you enjoyed the tactics, or you can see some of the tactics. And again, hopefully you like some of the stuff going forward. Oh, I guess one last thing is that the opening survey section, I'll see if I can try and maybe finish that before I go back to school. Classes start on Monday. Let's see if I can get everything done before then. There's only a few openings left anyway. So I'll try and tie up loose ends, and then 2020 is going to be a great year. Hope you have a great year as well. Otherwise, that's it. So again, SmithyQ, SmithyQ.com. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.